Hi, I'm Chloe,
Hi, I'm Joshua.
and welcome to the Musical Chairs podcast.
Where every week we talk about a different musical.
Yeah. So how are you today?
Pretty good. I got sleep.
Wow. Very well done.
Also,
Good job.
hello. Sorry, my dog's in here. Chloe's birthday was last week.
Yeah.
Well, happy
I,
birthday,
I
Chloe.
got a haircut, as you
You
can
did
tell.
get a haircut.
But
Just a
thank
curtain bang.
you.
I can't have curtain bangs.
Now I can do a Debbie Ryan, like, for real. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm just don't want to go to school tomorrow, but
Me
I mean,
neither.
it's fine. Anyway, the musical for this week is Chicago.
Yes.
So Chicago is an American musical with lyrics by Fred Ebb, music by John Kander, and book by Ebb and Bob Fosse. And it is set in Chicago in the Jazz Age, or the Roaring Twenties.
Wait. It's set in Chicago?
Really? Yeah, it is.
That's crazy. I didn't.
I know. I would have never known that.
Me neither.
To be honest.
Me neither.
Goodness.
No.
It's not like it's in the title or anything.
Yeah. No.
It opened in 1975 and had a revival in 1996. It holds a record for the second longest running musical on Broadway and was surpassed by Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
Just found out.
Phantom said no. We're the longest now.
We're passing it.
Yeah.
Chicago has been nominated for various Tony Awards in the 1975 cast, and it won multiple Tony Awards in the 1996 revival. And it won some, such as Best Choreography and Best Direction of a Musical.
Yeah. The synopsis, how do you pronounce it?
I think it's Synopsis.
No, the satirical?
Oh, satirical.
Satirical.
There you
a
go.
Jazzy musical is set in the 1920s, focusing on the story of Roxy Hart, a woman who killed her lover and was arrested. This life of crime slowly becomes her rise to fame, and she was recognized in newspapers rather than the infamous Velma Kelly. The two fight for the spotlight through crime, but will they end up in the spotlight on stage as they both dreamed? Can you hear Teddy like messing around with his golf ball?
I do not.
Because he has a golf ball and he's just playing with it.
Oh, that's very small. Like golf balls are a little small.
Yeah.
I would imagine my dog would just swallow it. Anyway, the original Broadway cast, 1975, Roxy Hart is played by Gwen Verdon, Velma Kelly is played by Cheetah Rivera, Billy Flynn is played by Jerry Orbach, and Amos Hart is played by Barney Martin.
Yeah. And then in the revival, Roxy Hart is played by Anne Ranking. Velma Kelly, I almost said Elma Kelly. Velma Kelly is played by, I think it's Phoebe Newworth. Billy Flynn is played by James Naughton, and Amos Hart is played by Joel Grey.
Yeah. So, on that note of the cast, is there any actors that you admire?
So we watched something that was, we think it's the Broadway cat. We think it was on the Broadway revival, but we're also not too sure because there's a different cast and stuff.
Yeah, it was
we looked at pictures and we think it's we think it's just a different cast, but it's still the Broadway one.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Thank you.
But it's just, we don't know for sure. But
I really liked the girl that played what's her name? Roxy.
Oh I think her name was Brandy in the one that we watched.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
she was really good. I really liked her.
Yeah, she actually was really good. Because I liked her voice, and she was...
And the way she portrayed the character and her facial expressions and stuff.
Uh-huh. She did it a little bit different than the ones that I've seen before.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I don't know. Every time, I really like the actress in the one that we watched who played Velma.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, she was great, too.
I loved her. She was so, full of, character and, jazzy, attitude.
I also, I think her name's Mama. I think that's her name.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
I really liked her. I really liked that character, too.
Mm-hmm. she didn't get enough appreciation.
Yeah.
She got like that small of a role, but I mean, she was still really good. And on that note, is there like, do you have a favorite character then?
A favorite character? Probably Roxy still.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Character-wise, I would probably say Amos because he's just like such a good sport.
Yeah.
Even though he like doesn't ever get recognized, it's just so sad.
He's a whole song about not getting recognized.
Yeah, it's sad. But he would probably be my favorite other than like Velma, obviously. Or the girl who was in the Cell Block Tango singing about the like, I can't remember. It was like some kind of different, I can't remember.
I think I know what you're talking about. She was good. She was really good too.
Yeah.
Like a 3-second role, and she really did it.
I know, yeah, she was great. And if you could be cast in the musical, who would you want to be and why?
Maybe Hello? Okay. Maybe what's the one guy that like helps Roxy? I don't know his name.
The lawyer?
Yeah.
Billy Flynn?
Yes, him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that like male role. Like that's like a really well done role with like a lot of songs and a lot of showcasing. I don't know for me. I don't really know who I'd want to play, but I mean, I don't know. I really wouldn't know. Because a lot of them are either like really like out there or their voices are not like the type of singing.
Well, say if you could do like sing in their range.
Probably Roxy then, because she's great. Maybe Velma too. They're just both like really great people, like really fun.
Not great people.
Not great people, but fun characters. Or one of the Cell Block Tango girls. They're fun too. And who would you recommend this musical to and why?
So first off, not my father. Because I told him, I was like, yeah, so it's really about these ladies and they like kill their husbands. And I was like, it's quite fun. He said, no, that's not fun. And I said, okay, so you wouldn't like it. He did not like the idea of it. And so not him. So if you're him, don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
But I mean, it's not for younger audiences. I mean, it's not too.
It's not as bad as I thought it was.
But like, their costumes are very risque.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But like, it's. I mean, if you just listen, I mean, there's not like. It's not that bad, but I still like if you're like really young, probably not.
Yeah. I think probably again not younger audiences, but maybe people who are more into like jazzy types of music.
Yeah, it's definitely jazzier and like.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or like satirical kind of musical things, because it is kind of satirical. It's kind of making fun of like the whole celebrity fame for being like, a criminal. So and what would you rate this out of 10? Personally, I would rate it like a 9 or a 10. It was actually really
I was gonna
good.
say the same. Yeah.
Because like it was like, it's not one that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with it, but at the same time it was really
I don't think we've ever rated anything like below a 7.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think anything deserves under like a 7 unless it's like Spider-Man the musical or something.
Or Emo the musical.
Have
you ever watch it?
I haven't.
It's I've heard so bad. Never watch. Actually, watch it and make fun of it.
Hold on, I'm gonna close my door really quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So I think that's it for that. But we have like a few little things. So Chloe got me this pillow for my birthday. And if you look here in the corner, it's quite dark, but it does in fact say Chicago.
It's more recognition. That's so sad.
Which also, they have a few of the other musicals we've done here, but I don't feel like it, like showing you. Like here's Newsies and Waitress. But they have Spider-Man the musical. We know what they don't have. Hamilton.
That's so annoying.
But they have Spider-Man the musical.
We'll have to review that one sometime just for like the sake of it.
Yeah. But if you don't know, they tried making Spider-Man the musical. They did make it. They did in fact write the music and write the script. But the guy almost died that played Spider-Man because he was swinging on his webs and then he fell.
My gosh, from
And
like
he was like high on the stage.
Jeez,
You
oh my gosh.
Throw your ball into the wall. That makes it loud.
Well, anyways, while he's doing that, I have a phone case that I got for my birthday, as you can see, and Chicago is right there.
Yes.
It's still very small, but I mean, yeah. So yeah, that is Chicago. We are going to be now talking more in depth about the musical. So if you don't want spoilers, then do not proceed from here. Yes. Or you can proceed from here. We can't really make you do anything, but we don't recommend it. So
yeah, you'll be very confused.
Definitely spoilers from this point on. Viewer discretion is advised.
So first I want to talk about the costumes because they're like pretty cool. So pretty much it's what? No, excuse me, sir. Okay. Anyways. Oh my god. Excuse me. I'm gonna take him out of my room. Okay, so I fixed that. But so the costumes, they're all wearing black. There's a little tiny bit of white if they're wearing like a suit, but like it's all black. And they're all wearing very like there's a lot of shears, there's a lot of like what's it called, like lace. It's very everyone really has very low cut things. They're very revealing for the body for both men and women. But it's cool. It does kind of fit the idea sort of with like, hey, there's this guy and I kind of used him for money a little bit and now I'm gonna kill him and now I'm famous.
Yeah, and like I think for the time period too, the whole like jazz baby kind of thing that's going on with their like the whole costuming, that kind of fit as well.
Yeah.
I think they changed it in the Broadway revival because all the covers that I've seen of Chicago do not have the mesh top. Like it's just the undergarments or like just shirtless for the men at least. And so I think they changed it to be a little more like less risque, I think.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because a lot of them have like just like they'll have like a small little like jacket that it's made out of like lace or like something that's sheer still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like there was like the most covering thing that I saw in the whole thing was probably when like Roxy was wearing that like suit jacket.
Kimono? Oh no, she was wearing a jacket. She also wore a kimono at some point.
Yeah.
For other than like what's his name? The lawyer guy.
Yeah.
Because he wore a suit.
Yeah, because he was definitely more professional.
Also Mama. She also wore a suit.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, everyone else wore they wore a dress that was like very
short
cut or high cut. I don't know.
Like low cut like here probably, but like
I think about like the bottom part. High cut.
Oh, right? Yeah. Pretty it was very short.
Yes, very short. Like if she moved her legs a tiny bit, you could see her under. They obviously all wore, nothing was showing.
Yeah, yeah.
None of the Nazi bits were showing.
Yeah. There was you could see in a lot of the scenes where they would like kick their legs up and stuff. It was very revealing, but nothing was actually like.
Yeah, they had like shorts underneath, not shorts.
Yeah.
But like
yeah.
A bathing suit bottom.
Yeah.
Some of them did just flat out wear like a bra and underwear.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of them, like a lot of the clothes, like no clothing other than the suits. Everything was skin tight. Like there was no room.
And made to be like very sexy.
Yeah, that's for sure. But the costumes were kind of cool, and it was just kind of fitting the whole like vibe for the time, I guess. Yeah. So.
And I also really like the stage.
Yes, we must talk about this.
The stage was really cool.
I loved how the orchestra was visible.
It was on stage. Like the
That
orchestra
was
band were literally
great.
right behind them.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And even
It
like
was like
the conductor man person, like
mm,
sometimes said stuff in scenes.
yeah, he would be involved in the scene sometimes. It
Mhm.
was kind
Like
of
there's
funny.
one time where Roxy had like a newspaper because her name was in it. And
Mm-hmm.
then she's like, look, it's me.
Uh-huh.
And it is like, wow, yeah.
hmm
And then she's like, you can
Yeah.
keep it.
Yeah, he was like, she was like, you can keep it. Um, but yeah, it was. I noticed on that topic that a lot of the times that show, like the actors would break the fourth wall. Like they'd either be talking to the audience or like referencing to the audience, or obviously to the orchestra.
Yeah,
And it was very interesting. It was only when they would be like performing their like dances or whatever,
yeah,
or when they would be like in their own moments, like the whole Roxy newspaper scene.
uh-huh,
Like she would be talking to the audience and the orchestra.
yeah,
It was interesting because obviously it's a show that's not breaking the fourth wall all the time, but it does sometimes.
yeah. But I just really liked how the band and stuff was just right there. And the
I
stage
know.
the stage was actually, it was pretty basic. It was just flat, and then it had like two like stairs behind them, and then the
hmm
orchestra and stuff. But then on
Yeah.
the sides they had like these like ladders. And
Ladders.
they
Yeah.
used them in a lot of scenes. Like usually when someone's just like watching what was happening, or they weren't really in the scene, but they're like important to the scene, like they were talking about them or something.
hmm
Which I thought also, when the one girl, she gets caught for like killing her husband or something. The one girl
Yeah.
that like can't, I think she's speaking like French or something. I don't really know. And she only says like
Yeah.
not guilty. That's like the only thing she says the whole time. And then she
hmm
gets like hung. We don't. They do not show her get hung.
They
Uh,
call it the Hungarian rope trick.
yeah. And so she pretty much climbs up, and there's just a rope that drops.
hmm Yeah, it's the ladders were really cool. I like those. They were
Yeah.
very interesting.
I also noticed how they hung on them, because they weren't like at the bottom. They're like the top of the ladder.
At the
And so
top.
I noticed by how they were holding on to it so they wouldn't fall. They'd have like their arm on one, and then like their elbow like on top of another one, so that if they went backwards, their arm would like catch them.
Yeah,
I noticed that. I was like, because every time anyone was on the ladder, they always held it the same way.
yeah, uh-huh. It was very interesting. Um, it
Safety.
was like they didn't really have like that much of a set. Like they had props obviously,
Oh yeah, they had plenty of props.
but they didn't really have like a scenery. It was again just kind of the orchestra fitting the whole kind of like performance jazz kind of thing.
Yeah,
Which I thought was really cool how they did that.
yeah.
So, yeah. Um we can probably just like get into the actual like show topic
Yeah.
now. Um,
Oh.
so it starts out with Velma performing her little like jazz thing
Mhm.
and welcoming the audience to the
Yeah.
performance.
She sings All That Jazz, which I'm sure everyone has at least heard.
Yeah,
It's
at
all that
least.
jazz. So yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so she performs that, and it says to like welcome the audience, because we find out later that like she like killed her like husband or something, right?
Yeah.
And then she was like, and then they were like, you actually didn't. And then she got really famous and like popular, so she made
Yeah.
like a show and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, she was I feel like I can't remember if this is exactly right, but I feel like she was like did it with her sister, like
Yeah, we find out
performed her
later.
husband, killed her husband or something. And I think her sister may have gotten blamed for it instead of her. I'm
Yeah,
not exactly sure if that's right, but I mean,
yeah. Or they said her sister died. And then
yeah.
this is later when she wants, because Roxy starts taking the fame away from her after
Yeah.
her thing, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And she's like, you should perform this that me and my sister did together.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh.
um, and basically, it was kind of cool how they did this too. During the like all that jazz song, they showed Roxy with the other man she was having like an affair with, and the man was gonna leave, but then Roxy was like, "Nobody leaves me," and then shot him.
Yeah.
Literally, just like killed him. And so then that happens, and then the rest of the song continues. So they kind of like interfered it with the
Yeah.
song. It was kind of cool. And then after that, all that jazz kind of finishes, and then we get into Roxy's whole like killing her husband thing and how that happened. It's so funny because the story was changed like 5 different times based on what she did.
Yeah.
Like at first it was like changed to be like more of like a sympathetic story. Then it was like we both reached for the gun. And then after that it was just it was crazy.
Yeah.
It kind of shows the whole like celebrity fame through
and how
crime.
they're just like, and everyone just goes, they're like, yeah, that's what happened.
They all believe it too. They're like, oh my gosh, wow, that's exactly what happened. And it's like it's crazy. But yeah, and then it was like poor Amos ends up taking the blame for this because the first story was that it was a burglar that killed the other man, and it was like something around that. And then she was singing
Amos
about like
Roxy's husband, by the way.
Yeah.
And the other guy is like some guy that she had like an affair with or something.
I don't even remember his name, to be honest. I don't remember him. He was there for like a split second and then just like gone.
Then
Yep, just like dead. But yeah, then she
probably
starts
wasn't
singing.
eating keto.
Yep, that's exactly why he was killed.
Because if you know Chloe, she is keto, but her sister is not keto.
Yeah, so then she starts singing, being like, oh my gosh, Amos is the best because he's so like willing to do anything for me.
Yeah.
Even though he's so taken for granted. The poor man. I feel so bad.
I feel so bad for him.
And then Roxy ends up getting arrested for her deeds and then just like goes to jail. And this is a fun number. Like when I
this is another one that everyone knows. Cell Block Tango.
Pretty much.
It's,
yeah.
He had it coming. That one.
He had it coming. Yeah. So
there was a bunch of different ladies speaking about like what they did in their stories and stuff.
Yeah. Because she's sent to that part of the jail, and they're all just like telling their stories about.
They're all saying that he had it coming. He should have. He only had himself to blame. Saying that like it was his fault. It wasn't our fault.
Yeah. It was so like some of them were so funny too. Like it was such a funny way of doing it.
Oh my god! This one girl said, and I shot 2 warning shots in his head.
I love that one. The one I can't remember. I was talking about this girl earlier, but it was like I can't remember. It was like something about like an artist or something. Like I can't remember. I really can't. But I mean, it was really funny, and I was just like, wow, this is genius humor. So
genius.
And then basically
that was a fun number. I really liked that one.
It was great.
Yeah.
We also, speaking of that, what's like your favorite like song? Because we never talked about that.
I don't know the names yet, but Cell Block Tango is obviously up there.
Yeah.
I can't think of like all the songs just blanked. I don't know, but all the songs are really good. I liked like all of them.
I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of hard because I'm not like super familiar with everything.
Yeah.
So obviously like I haven't listened to it and been like, you know what? I like this song better than the other ones. But I really like the one where they're talking about class. That one's
Oh, yeah.
And I also like the Mr. Cellophane. That one's good too. And yeah. And Cell Block Tango, that one's good too.
Yeah.
and then Mama comes in and starts talking about like her deal with all these girls and like how she like gets them things that they want through like bribing and stuff.
Yeah.
Saying like, if you're good to me, then I'll be good to you.
Yeah.
So yeah. We learn about her for a minute.
And she's like pretty much like Velma's like sidekick in a way throughout the whole thing. Like a lot of the scenes that Velma's in, she's also like right behind her.
Yeah, they work together a lot, and I think she's honestly one of the reasons why Velma was so famous.
Yeah, I think she also helped her with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
And then like what's her name? Roxy's not as much as Mama, but her like sidekick-ish person kind of is his name is Billy, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Billy, because he's like her lawyer for the thing, and she's like, and he's fully aware that she did it. And they're just like,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna help you. He's just like, and he like always like helps her with stuff and like helps her get away with it.
Uh-huh. He's kind of a genius, like, through the whole thing.
Yeah, because there's in one song, which we'll get to, he like kind of is a puppeteer and like puppets her and like do
Yeah,
it for
that
like
was
what
so
she's gonna
cool.
say. I really like that one. I really like that one. But yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get to that in a second.
And so, yeah, speaking of that guy, so how he became her lawyer is she was like, I need a lawyer because I can't do this by myself. But she had to pay like $5,000, and she was like, Amos, get me the money. And then Amos didn't have the money, and it was kind of like, oh, like, but she was like, but he was like, I'm still gonna help you anyway, and make your crime, instead of like making you pay me the money, I'm just going to like make you be like a media case so that like you're gonna get famous, and then that money will go to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what ended up happening. And yeah, that's basically what he does. He just like makes her famous, and then she becomes famous through
Quite quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. And then he changes her story.
Yeah,
And,
like 3 times, and everyone's like,
uh-huh.
yeah.
And that's where the puppeteer one comes in.
Uh-huh.
And he was saying he changed the story to where it was like they both reached for the gun. I can't remember how the story actually goes. Like I don't remember like
What it actually was.
Well, like I know that they were saying they both reached for the gun, but I can't remember like all the details of it.
Oh yeah. I don't remember either. But yeah, I just remember that. And the way that he like puppeteered her in this one was so funny. And
I
like
know.
her face started the whole because she like the whole time she was like smiling and just like not really saying, she was more just like moving her mouth like
Yeah, it was such a genius.
it was
Like,
done so well. And
uh-huh.
there would be times where she like kind of start talking for herself and she like start ruining the story and she's like, no, stop.
Yeah, uh-huh. That was his whole deal. He would just like lie to make it sound good.
Yeah. It was really cool how they did it. I really liked
It
how
was
they did that.
great. Yeah, it was really cool. Like I had never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
It was really well done.
Yeah.
And then this is where she's like boasting about her fame in her like in the newspaper, because she becomes all famous, and she's more famous than Velma now, and she's like really famous in the city. This was kind of cool too, because with the whole like orchestra being there, being like, look at this.
And she did this really, the way she was she gave him the newspaper and she was like, you can keep it.
Yeah. Yeah,
and because there's like there was like a pause in between it where he was like trying to give it back and she was like, keep it.
Yeah. It was really good. What else? After it was like she became really famous, and then Velma was getting really like, ugh, I hate it here. I don't like that she's famous.
Because
So
Velma
was
like the famous one before her with her story, like her husband.
I don't remember exactly the whole story about her husband.
Yeah,
but
I don't really know. I don't remember either.
Yeah. And so somewhere after this, Velma was like, hey, do a sister act with me so I can get famous off of you.
Because with my actual sister, this is what we were talking about earlier, with her actual sister, we did this. And then Roxy is like, no, that was a bad act.
Yeah.
She does that. She plays both parts. She's like,
Yeah.
I do this, and then she does that, and then she would.
It was so. It was
she was
so
just
cool.
like, she was like, how was it? And she goes,
yeah. It was just like, dang. Yeah, it was kind of cool because it like Velma was really like underrated for doing that whole thing as two people. It was really cool.
Yeah, Roxy did not like it.
Yeah, she was like, no,
did not want to do it. She didn't do it. Okay.
So yeah, and they both kind of realize like the only people they can rely on right now is themselves, because they both are kind of like, like unreliable because they killed their husbands. They don't really have any friends.
Yeah.
Not their
Well,
husbands.
Roxy didn't kill her husband. She killed
Yeah,
the guy she was
the
having
other
like an
guy.
affair with.
Yeah. And yeah, and I think that song is like My Own Best Friend. That was kind of interesting too. I like the duets in this
Oh
musical.
yeah, they're really good. I love the duets.
It's like a perfect musical for duets.
Yeah.
And then I think the act kind of ends, like the whole like first act one is just kind of over and it ends, and then after that Velma again introduces the audience to the second act, which I kind of like how they did that.
Yeah.
How they they make
like they still, because the whole thing is it just feels like a show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which it is supposed to resemble.
Yeah, because they're like pretty much perform, like even though they're performing an actual show, they're performing shows within the show.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then she like kind of reintroduces everyone, and then she's like still really mad at Roxy. She's like, I hate her. I hate her. I don't like her at all, because she just manipulates the system so she can be famous. And I think she also hated her because Billy was also Velma's lawyer. And so it was just like she stole everything.
I think they like pushed her case back.
Yeah, because they were like, Roxy's more important. So
yeah.
And then I didn't mention this before, but basically Roxy was like, I'm pregnant now. Because
like, I have a baby.
Yeah, because she was like, that'll really keep me in the newspapers, because she's basically in this for the fame now. And so then she starts singing about it and being like, oh my gosh, I love my child, my unborn child. And Amos is like, oh yeah, I'm the father of the unborn child. And then they're like, no, you're not, because Roxy was with this other guy. And he was like, wait, what? Because he didn't really know the whole story.
Yeah,
and then
he was so excited too.
He was so excited. He was like,
I felt bad. He was so excited for it.
I know. He would have actually like wanted a child too. Like Roxy was just using it. So it was so sad. But and this is where he sings about like being invisible, practically being like, no one ever notices me. I'm not appreciated. I love how at the end of the song he was like, I hope I didn't take up too much of your time.
Yes. And then like, also there's this one guy where I think it was Billy. He goes up to him, starts talking to him about something. He was like, oh, I didn't see you there. And then he literally turns around for a second, then turns back around and is like, oh, there you are. You know, he was literally talking about him like the second before.
Oh, that's sad.
And then he also calls him by the wrong name. What is he called?
Really? I can't remember.
It was like Adam or something. He was like called him Adam. He was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm not Adam. He's like, yeah, Adam.
That's so sad. He's just so like unrecognized. But he's like the only like morally good person in the show.
I know.
And so yeah, he sings a whole song about being like, yep, no one cares about me. And then Roxy's trial is actually coming up, and she is like really nervous for it, because she's like, what do I say? Because she has been taught by this guy to like manipulate the whole system and like lie about it. And so she's like, and then the guy again is like, just razzle dazzle him and you'll be fine. Like make the trial a show and it'll be great.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's basically what she does. She kind of like, he kind of talks for her again. So yeah, the rest of the show is kind of basically centered around the whole like events of the trial, I guess, and like the rest of the like what happens, I guess. And then this is where Velma and Mama are singing about the class and how like no one is really actually like morally right anymore, or like have good manners.
Everyone wants fame.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny how they're talking about it too, because I was like, okay. They probably just had a realization or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then towards the end of the show, what ends up happening is Velma and Roxy. I was going to say Riley for a second. That is not her name. But they end up being vaudevillian dancers.
Yeah, and they like
they
have it. They do the show together.
And it's so cool. Like I was like, wow, that's cool. And they just like basically dance, and then the show has like a little finale, and then yeah.
Going back to
it was like a long show, but it was kind of short too.
Yeah.
So.
Going back to like the part with what am I saying? With the trial and stuff. She she apparently stole Velma's shoes.
Really?
Yeah, because during class she's like, she stole my career, she stole my fame, and she stole my shoes.
Oh my
because
God.
during the whole, if you notice, they're at the during the trials, like, ooh, these are so pretty. They have little buckles and a little shiny.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was like, why is she like looking at her shoes like that?
Yeah, so like the whole thing, she's like putting on this like act of like what happened, and like Amos and the other guy, like during the whole thing, they like come in and start like acting as if what she says that they did. And so and it's like very, and it's like feels like an elementary school play with like the kids just knowing what their line is, and that's it. They're like saying their line. And because they're just like coming and saying what she is saying they did. Did they actually do it? No. But it's what she said. And then she's just like, yeah, this is what happens. And then throughout she gets like distracted by the shoes.
I know, that was funny. I was like, wow. She's like distracted by the shoes. That makes more sense though, if she stole the shoes. Because I was like, why is she so like distracted by her own shoes?
Yeah.
But that makes more sense. I was like, what? But yeah, it was a really good show. It was great. Fantastic show.
Yeah, I really liked like Velma and Roxy's voices.
I know. Yeah,
like, I really like Velma's. How like the best way to describe it is when your nose is plugged.
Yeah, it's like kind of like nose plug, but also like sugar coated jazz almost. Like
yes, and it's so I feel like I've heard her voice before. I don't know when or like where, but like I really like her voice, and it's really cool.
It perfectly fit her character. Like it kind of, I don't know, the way she did it was kind of almost like a news voice, but also not really. Like I don't know exactly how to explain it, but
and the girl that played Roxy's fit a lot too, because like she was more like new to it the whole time, and so she like the whole time she's like not the like turn for like the first act, she's kind of like nervous a lot of the time and like more crunched up a little bit, and then towards the end she's like more out and like more like comfortable with the situation, and she knows what she's doing now. I that's also cool to like see how like she changed throughout it, because at the beginning she was so panicked she was gonna be hung if she got caught, but then like after she started gaining more confidence, she like didn't worry about stuff like that anymore.
It was like, why am I worrying about this? Yeah, it was a really great show. We also didn't talk about this much, but the one number with the lawyer and the girls with like the fan things.
Yes,
that was so much fun.
That was so cool.
Yeah, it was great.
I like the part where they all went around him and like went in a circle, and like the ones at the bottom went lower and the ones at the top went higher. That looked cool how they did that.
Yeah, and his head was just like peeking out of like the bed. Like it was so funny. I was like, wow, this is so cool. They were like big fans. Like
they were
like,
huge,
big.
But they were obviously probably light because they were just feathers. But they were big.
They were big fans
of Addams Family during except our feather, we had like little fans, like
tiny,
just like tiny little fans, and they just like had feathers on them, and the girls were just using them, and they were like a lot smaller. Like the ones were huge, but it just reminded me of that.
Yeah, they were. It was really cool because they were like just like fanning him the whole time. It was fun. What else? Again, talking about the whole like costuming thing, like I liked how like again the whole Roxy confidence thing. Like in the first part of the show, she was wearing just kind of like a dress and like kind of not really that much. But then it changed to like a suit, like more of like a suit jacket, like more like kind of out there. It was kind of cool to see that like costume change, because not really anyone else had that. Like it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The show, like, she's more serious about it and stuff, and like really showing that, like, this is like a big thing for her.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add?
I don't think so. It's really kind of just like a show. Like it's weird because the storyline is like short, but I think with all the numbers and stuff, the show's like relatively long.
Yeah.
But it's ultimately pretty like short, pretty like put together. There's nothing.
Yeah.
I don't think
it's very good though. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, definitely go watch it. It's really good. It's shorter than Rent, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
And you can understand what's happening in like one watch.
Yes. You're not really that confused because again, it's more like simple. It's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah, but it's still really, really good. Obviously, it's really good. It's the second longest running show.
Yeah.
Like obviously, it's not gonna be running that long if it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah, highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Yeah. Well, you should also go check out our social medias because we post on there every week. We have Instagram, Musical Chairs Podcast. I think the Twitter is Podcast Chairs.
Yes.
And we also have a TikTok. Yeah. And also we have the Patreon, which is $3 a month to just kind of get like extra access to.
And you get to vote episodes for the next musicals.
Yes. And yeah, definitely go check those things out. And we hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
I'm Chloe.
I'm Joshua.
Bye.
Bye.